Good morning. It is Thursday, March 13th. Here is what we are working on this morning. We have the latest on the tariff war from the town of Lincoln to Washington, D.C.
The Ontario Hockey League opens an investigation into the organizational culture of the Niagara Ice Dogs.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander leads the Oklahoma City Thunder into the NBA's postseason. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Live. And it was a rather chilly drive in this morning. Another back-to-back day of cold weather. You step out of the house.
I found this morning even colder than yesterday.
Yeah, it wasn't nice, Brian.
And I can tell you why. The humidity is higher, so you feel that humidity this morning. Yeah, it's a damp cold. Like the humidity this morning is about 94%. Yesterday morning it was in the low 70s, so you didn't quite feel it as much. Even though yesterday morning was -2, we're sitting at -1 right now. So yeah, that's the humidity that makes it feel colder. You ready for the eclipse of the moon tonight?
Yes.
Yes. Yay.
Yes.
And it's going to be a clear sky. It's going to be perfect for it overnight tonight. Totality, I guess, goes between 2:30 and 3:30. So yay, we might even see it coming in tomorrow morning. But you'll have to be up overnight to see it. Yeah, skies are going to be clear today. Lovely sunshine for the day today. Then those skies will be clear tonight, temperature falling about -1. Today we should be milder than yesterday. We struggled yesterday. We got to, well, officially 1.5 yesterday, and today we're going to climb to 8 degrees. Other areas a little bit better, but yeah, 8 for the day today, and sunny and warmer tomorrow, so looks good. We'll talk about that coming up. Quick look at traffic this morning, and once again, this time of the morning and being March break, there's not a lot happening. 403 and Waterdown Road still doing okay. We'll check some MTO traffic cameras. We'll start at the QEW in Red Hill Creek, so Toronto-bound lanes away from us on that camera. Now Toronto-bound towards us, top of the Skyway Bridge, and we'll flip ahead to east of Appleby. Nothing going on this morning. Good news. Please take it carefully. We'll keep you posted. Weather and traffic coming up. Right now, the news.
Thank you very much, Brian. A dollar-for-dollar tariff counter-strike by Ottawa came into effect today. Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc and other cabinet ministers announced that new Canadian levies targeted $12.6 billion in steel products, $3 billion in aluminum products, and will also apply to items including computers, sports equipment, and cast iron goods. The tariffs are in addition to 25% tariffs Canada imposed on $30 billion on U.S. imports earlier this month. Canada's retaliatory measures came when U.S. President Donald Trump imposed steel and aluminum tariffs on Canada yesterday.
Town of Lincoln has put together a tariff response team to help businesses affected by the trade war. It's a partnership with the Downtown Beamsville BIA, Lincoln's Economic Development Office, and the local Chamber of Commerce. So they're all going to monitor tariff-related issues and provide businesses with critical resources. Lincoln is committed to 4 key mandates and goals. They include a buy local campaign and engaging with provincial and federal policymakers. The response from the Town of Lincoln aligns with the approach across Niagara region.
A new poll suggests that 40% of Canadians are worried about losing their jobs as many businesses scale back hiring plans in response to the trade war with the U.S. The Leger poll suggests that more than half of workers in Ontario were concerned about job security, the highest in the country, while just under 1 in 4 in Atlantic Canada said they were worried. 39% of people in British Columbia, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan reported they're worried about losing their jobs, compared to 35% of people in Alberta and 26% of people in Quebec. The online poll surveyed 1,500 Canadians from March 7th to March 10th.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford is getting set to be part of a meeting with the U.S. Commerce Secretary in Washington today.
I want to find out where their bar is set. You know, rather than keep moving the goalposts, I want to find out how quickly you want to move forward and see what their requirements are.
Ford Federal Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc and Ambassador to the United States, Kirsten Hillman, will meet with Howard Lutnick. This comes days after a trade dust-up with Donald Trump ended with Ontario pausing its surcharge on electricity exports to the states.
Yeah, I wouldn't say backing down. I'd say respecting negotiations, and when someone calls you up out of the blue and sends an olive branch over to you, I'd be foolish not to take it and move forward.
Also in Washington, Donald Trump's pick for U.S. Ambassador to Canada, former Michigan Congressman Pete Hoekstra, is set to take questions today at a Senate Foreign Relations Committee hearing amid strained relations between our two countries over tariff and annexation threats.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio may be walking into unusually unfriendly territory this week in Quebec, where he is meeting his counterparts from the Group of 7 industrialized democracies. The strong American allies have been stunned by Trump's trade actions against them, including steel and aluminum tariffs that kicked in yesterday. Rubio arrived in Quebec for 2 days of talks with fellow top diplomats from Canada, Britain, France, Germany, Italy, and Japan. Rubio said he's not planning to discuss Trump's threat to take over Canada.
What he said is it should become the 51st state from an economic standpoint. He says if they became the 51st state, we wouldn't have to worry about the border and fentanyl coming across, because now we would be able to manage that. He's made an argument that it's their interest to do so. Obviously, the Canadians don't agree, apparently. But
do you agree with this? Should they be? Are we going to discuss that becoming the 50th?
Well, that's not what we're going to discuss at the G7.
Rubio says he wants the G7 to be constructive, but Washington's unpredictable foreign policy under Trump has caused confusion among its longtime allies. European countries descended further into a tit-for-tat trade war with the U.S. yesterday after Trump's tariffs on all U.S. steel and aluminum imports took effect.
Police are investigating an arson in Hamilton's East End. It happened at a home on Elm Street near Gage Park around 3 o'clock this morning. Crews put out the fire. It was set on the front porch of a home. Police say there were 2 people in the house at the time, but no one was hurt. The Ontario Fire Marshal's office has been notified. A stolen vehicle was involved in a crash yesterday in Oakville. Just before 8:30 yesterday morning, an SUV stolen from a driveway in Oakville collided with a fuel truck at Winston Churchill Boulevard and Lakeshore Road. A diesel fuel leak led to a lengthy road closure because of cleanup. The driver of the SUV was arrested. There are no reported injuries. The OHL's Niagara Ice Dogs are being investigated over their organizational culture. In a statement to TSN, the league says it's hired a Toronto law firm to do a cultural review of the team following multiple complaints of inappropriate behavior involving staff. The OHL's commissioner says the concerns are not sexual or criminal in nature. It's not the first time the Ice Dogs have been investigated. 3 years ago, the league suspended the then Ice Dogs general manager and head coach over offensive language used in a group WhatsApp conversation. In Niagara, police in Welland have seized fentanyl laced with a dangerous substance, possibly even more potent than opioids. Niagara police seized a quantity of a substance believed to be fentanyl and sent it to Health Canada's Drug Analysis Service for testing. The service has since notified Niagara police that metronidazepine was detected in that sample. This is a painkiller that's not approved for use in Canada, and overdosing on that drug can be fatal. Well, Hamilton police are warning the public about a new bank card scam that's targeting seniors over the phone. It masks their phone number to look like a real bank is calling. Police say the scammers lie to the victims, insisting that their card's been compromised and advising the victim that they have to provide personal information to help clear up the issue. Victims have been tricked into giving out their home addresses, passwords, and PINs because of the scheme. Banks and police say they will never call you for personal information or send a courier to pick up your bank card.
All right, taking a look at sports now. There's a little over a month left in the NHL regular season, so it's crunch time for a lot of the teams on the playoff bubble. Let's dive right into last night's action. We'll start you off with a tilt between the Flames and Canucks, who are separated by a single point for the final wildcard spot in the West.
Pettersson out of the corner. Mancini shoots, tip, rebound, Pettersson scores!
Elias Pettersson buries the rebound in the third period to tie this one up at threes and send it to extras, where he also snipes one past Dustin Wolf in the shootout, as well as the Canucks win it 4-3. The Flames and Canucks are now tied for the final wildcard spots in the West with 71 points. Calgary has a game in hand. Another tilt with playoff implications. The Habs in Seattle to grab a Starbucks, listen to some Nirvana, and take on the Kraken. Montreal was up 4-2 in the third, but the Kraken clawed all the way back. Matty Beniers tying it late in the third off a blast from Vince Dunn, and this one needed extras. And we don't normally do this, but I'm going to show you the entire overtime period because in 5 seconds, Ohsweken own Brandon Montour wins it quickly for Seattle. Montour now has the record for the fastest overtime goal in NHL history. Habs still get a point in the loss and are now only one back of Columbus for the last wild card spot in the East. Let's head to the association where Hamilton's own Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and his Oklahoma City Thunder were looking to make a statement against one of the best teams in the league in the Boston Celtics. Hamilton basketball star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 34 points to help the Oklahoma City Thunder clinch a playoff berth with a 118-112 victory over the Boston Celtics. The Western Conference leading Thunder withstood a barrage of Boston three-pointers to sweep the defending NBA champs. OKC also won for the 17th time in 18 games. That's pretty good. Canadian A.J. Lawson had his second big game in a row for the Toronto Raptors. Lawson from Brampton scored 28 points. Jared Rhoden set career highs with 25 and 12 rebounds, and the Toronto Raptors beat the Philadelphia 76ers 118-105 last night in a matchup of shorthanded teams. Orlando Robinson scored a career-high 25 points and matched his career high with 12 rebounds as well to help the Raptors win for the 5th time in 6 games. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers is officially a free agent for the first time in his career, though it's not a surprise. As expected, the team released the 4-time MVP with a post-June 1st designation. 41-year-old quarterback can now join another team as an unrestricted free agent for the first time in his career if he still intends to play a 21st NFL season. The Jets absorbed a $49 million dead money charge by cutting Rodgers, but are able to spread that over 2 years instead of 1. On Monday, New York agreed to terms with former Steelers and Bears quarterback Justin Fields on a 2-year deal.
Oh, Jay!
Come on, JJ.
Be good!
Come on. Come on, JJ.
That's it.
Got it.
That's it.
Got it.
How's that for a shot? During the annual caddy competition at the Players' Championship, Colin Morikawa's caddy J.J. Jakovic drained his tee shot from 131 yards out with a pitching wedge yesterday for the hole-in-one.
Wow. Okay. All right. 12 minutes after 6 o'clock. Let's get you into this 13th morning of March already. Let's start with our traffic cameras. And I can tell you right now, there's nothing happening on the roads this morning. Things are pretty light. No collisions. That's the 403 and Waterdown Road. Not even a shake on the camera. The winds are still fairly light this morning. That's good. To some MTO traffic cameras. Here's east of Lake. That's the QEW, of course. Toronto-bound lanes heading away from us. Red Hill Creek still looks good. So the 403 at Brant Street, well, just about at Brant Street, Toronto-bound heading away from us, looks good. Ford Plant, nothing. And all the way through Etobicoke Creek, it is light volume. And as I said, not a lot happening. Look at the temperature that we have at the moment. Temperature is just into the minus column, -1. Bit of a northeasterly wind, and that wind was strong yesterday, and it kept our temperature way down. So northeast at 24. That's the relative humidity this morning, 94%, and that's why you feel that chill. So it feels like -7 at the moment, and it is mainly cloudy right now. Not a lot of systems around us. The ridge of high pressure up to the northeast is still giving us some clear trend. We're watching a system approaching from the American Midwest that's going to bring us a wet weekend. There you can see the low coming in towards us, but until then, today and tomorrow, we'll have the sunshine, but then for the weekend it's going to get cloudy and it's going to get fairly wet as well. Today, better temperatures, 7 and 9 for Niagara, 8 and 7. Look at 11 and 10 for Simcoe, Cayuga, Brantford, but single digits generally for the rest of us. We still have that northeasterly breeze. Tonight, again, dipping into the minus column. The moon will be full. It's the full warm blood moon overnight tonight, and we'll have the eclipse between 2:30 and 3:30 totality. Anyhow, the lunar eclipse tonight, but temperatures anywhere from -1 to +1. Tomorrow, look at the 16 and 19 for Niagara, 11 for Hamilton, still that northeast wind, 10 and 11 for the rest of the horseshoe. But as I said, other areas Simcoe and Cayuga could hit 17 degrees tomorrow, so we'll have the sun and it'll be a pretty nice and much milder day tomorrow. So out the door, 13th morning of March. It's a Thursday. It's mostly cloudy, light winds. Temperature right now -1. Long range in a few minutes. Annette, Adam.
Okay, we'll have more on that blood moon coming up in just a little bit.
Did you full worm blood moon? Is that?
There's several names for it.
All right. Coming up after the break, the founder of Alimentation Couche-Tard is wrapping up its campaign to take over 7-Eleven's parent company in Japan by holding a press conference in that country. Welcome back. The Canadian dollar is down 11 basis points this morning to 69.5 cents U.S. Gold is up $4.70 an ounce, and crude is down 9 cents to $67.59 a barrel. In midday, European trading markets are up in London, but down in Frankfurt and Paris.
In Asia today, markets closed lower with lower actually across the board in Tokyo, Hong Kong, and Shanghai. Checking North American markets, the TSX was up 170 points higher, driven by gains in the energy and tech sectors. On Wall Street, the Dow dropped 83 points and the Nasdaq gained over 200.
Alimentation Couche-Tard took its $47 billion bid for Japan's 7-Eleven parent company to the Japanese public yesterday. This marks a major shift in strategy after months of limited engagement with 7-I. The Quebec-based company, which owns Circle K, has been pursuing the acquisition since August, raising its offer along the way. Founder Alain Bouchard said his company was disappointed with the level of engagement it had with 7-I over the deal, which would require approval from the target board's shareholders and regulators. If Couche-Tard succeeds, the deal would likely become the largest foreign-led takeover of a Japanese company.
Bank of Canada, as expected, cut its benchmark interest rate by a quarter point as it warns that trade uncertainty is already hurting our economy. The move marks the bank's 7th interest rate cut in a row, and it brings its key rate down now to 2.75%. Inflation is in check, and the economy was picking up speed heading into the new year. Then the bank warns the tariff battle with the United States could change all that in a hurry. The Bank of Canada Governor Tiff Macklem says trade uncertainty was already causing harm to the economy before tariffs were imposed last week. U.S. inflation slowed last month for the first time since September, despite new tariffs on steel and aluminum. The consumer price index in the U.S. rose 2.8% in February compared to last year, down from 3% in January. Economists point to lower gas and grocery prices, but warn the trade war could drive costs up very soon.
Facebook's parent company Meta is going to court with French publishers and authors accusing the social media company of using their works without proper permissions. The filing alleges Meta used unauthorized works to train its artificial intelligence model. 3 trade groups have announced legal action against Meta over what they say is a massive use of copyrighted work without authorization. The one group representing book publishers accuses Meta of non-compliance with copyright and parasitism.
Speaking of books and Meta, a former employee is once again blowing the whistle on Meta's culture. In a new book called Careless People, former executive Sarah Wynne Williams details her 6 years at the parent company of Facebook and Instagram. Her last job there was as director of global public policy until she was fired in 2017. Wynne Williams offers an insider's perspective into some of Facebook's most controversial moments, including its role in U.S. President Donald Trump's 2016 election campaign. In the book, she implied that she was fired in retaliation for reporting sexual harassment. Meta is pushing back against the accusations in the book.
Taking a break now, Brian Wood will be back with a look at traffic and your 7-day forecast. Stay tuned.
All right, to the roads we go on this Thursday morning, just coming up to 624. Here's the QEW in 7th, and of course this is St. Catharines, and we're looking at Toronto-bound lanes heading away from us, so both directions are very light volume so far. Here's the top of the Burlington Skyway Bridge again. We showed it to you maybe 20 minutes ago or so, and it was just looking like that. So nothing has really changed so far today. Here's east of Appleby, Toronto bound towards us. Same here at Sheraton as you're going toward Lorne Park and Mississauga Road. We'll dip into the 403 here at Dundas, the Ford plant way in the distance. So this is Toronto bound lanes coming towards us, still moving nicely. Let's check our temperature right now. As I said, we're just into the minus column here this morning. -1 is the temperature, but the humidity is high, so you're going to feel that chill a bit more this morning. The winds still northeast at 24 kilometers an hour, giving us a wind chill right now of -7. So it's a mostly cloudy sky at the moment. Those are our sun times for the day today. Sun up 7:36. Sun goes down at 7:23. Seasonal daytime high has come up a degree now. Oh, that bodes well as we get closer to spring. 4 degrees for the daytime high, -5 for the overnight low. And those are our records for today. So today, 8 degrees, so much better than yesterday in the sunshine. -1 tonight once again. Tomorrow, 11 and sunny, so a nice day tomorrow. And then we get the clouds and showers for the weekend. 12 degrees Saturday, 8 degrees Sunday. St. Patrick's Day on Monday, sunny and 4, and then better temperatures for Tuesday into Wednesday. It's your forecast. Annette, Adam.
Thank you very much, Brian. Very, very early tomorrow morning, or as we like to call it, the start of our workday.
Yes.
A lunar eclipse will make the moon appear a deep red.
Now, here in southern Ontario, it will start just before midnight and last until around 6 a.m. The eclipse's totality, when the Earth passes in front of the moon, obscuring it almost completely, will start around 2:30 tomorrow morning, will last until about 3:30, just as we're getting into work. A total eclipse happens when the moon is full and aligns perfectly with the Earth and the sun. Now, unlike a total solar eclipse, you're not going to need special eyewear to see this one safely. Coming up a bit after 7 o'clock this morning, University of Guelph physicist Orbax is going to explain what makes this lunar eclipse so colorful, because it's been called the blood red worm moon, the crow moon, or the maple moon, all signifying that, spring is about to start.
It could be a really cool segment, or will be a really cool segment coming up.
Yeah.
And might be quite
Always
the sight.
great with Orbax.
Yeah, it'll be quite the sight driving in tomorrow morning. All right, stay with us. More to come after the break.